In a world ruled by the gods of Olympus, an ancient pathogen, once sailed within the lightless depths of Tartarus, is suddenly unleashed. Unlike any catastrophe before it, this blight erodes divine essence itself, twisting the gods into crazed, bloodthirsty monstrosities driven by a hunger for celestial energy. One by one, the gods fall. Ares becomes an uncontrollable engine of slaughter. Demeter transforms life into a desolate wasteland of death. Poseidon drowns the oceans in corpses and despair. Only Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Hades, lord of the Underworld, whose immunity to the rot allows them to keep their sanity, remain. Forced into an uneasy alliance with Mystra, the goddess of magic, they journey toward the crumbling ruins of Mount Olympus to confront Zeus, a tyrant of lightning driven to madness. This is the final stand between the divine and absolute annihilation. Olympus, once a place where light never faded, a realm where the gods ruled above the clouds, and the fate of all living beings could be decided with a single gesture. No one ever imagined that those immortal beings would be the first to rot when true catastrophe awakened. Deep beneath the abyss of Tartarus, a prison where even death itself was bound, an ancient plague had slept for thousands of years. And then the seal cracked. It was not a disease that killed gods. It consumed their divinity. It turned power into hunger, wisdom into madness. The water goddesses dissolved into twisted, oozing forms, dragging themselves through blood-soaked temples. The forest gods sprouted bone and thorns from their flesh, hunting the very mortals who once prayed to them. Then came the greater gods. Ares, god of war, became a sleepless engine of slaughter. No strategy, no honor, only killing and killing. Demeter, goddess of harvest, watched fertile lands decay into wastelands. Life withered wherever she walked. And beneath the seas, Poseidon screamed in despair as the oceans turned black, a mass grave filled with divine corpses and endless sorrow. Olympus began to collapse from within. Amid the madness, one mind remained unbroken. Athena, goddess of wisdom, now known as Lyra, the one who stared into the truth without flinching. Lyra realized the most horrifying truth of all. There was no cure. Only containment or total annihilation.
Let the light bind you.
And to achieve that, she had to seek the only being immune to decay.
No.
Hades, lord of the Underworld. Kalin, the name whispered by lost souls, was death incarnate, and rot held no power over him. Two beings who never trusted one another now stood side by side. Not out of friendship, but because there was no other choice. Together with Mystra, the last goddess of magic still sane, they marched toward Olympus. The path was littered with divine corpses, former allies, family, legends. No plea was accepted, no miracle strong enough to save them. Every sword strike, every spell cast was a final farewell. At last, Olympus stood before them, no longer golden, only ash and crimson lightning tearing through the sky. Upon a shattered throne sat Zeus, now bearing the name Tartarus, a mad tyrant of thunder. His eyes held no trace of divine majesty, only an endless craving for power. Lightning crashed like the laughter of fate itself. The final battle erupted. Kalin restrained Zeus within the raging storm. Mystra sacrificed her very existence, using her life to seal the ancient plague. And Lyra made the cruelest choice of all. She struck down the one who was once the father of the gods. Olympus fell silent. No gods remained to rule, no thunder left to judge. Only ruins and a world saved at an unimaginable cost. Far away, humanity looked up at the sky, unaware that the age of gods had ended forever. And from the ashes of divinity, a new era began.
By the power of the ancients, be bound.
You cannot hope to contain me. Look at this destruction!
Olympus fell silent. The gods
This
were
is worse than
dead.
I thought.
The plague
So many lost.
sealed.
I
At least,
understand.
that was what Lyra allowed the world to believe. As the last echoes of thunder faded, she stood alone among the ruins, her hands trembling, her veins burning with stolen divinity. Mystra's sacrifice had sealed the plague, but Lyra had taken something
Unleash
else.
your power.
A fragment, a spark, a truth too dangerous to destroy. Because she understood now. The gods were never the problem. Power was. And as Lyra turned her gaze toward the mortal world, her shadow stretched unnaturally long across the broken stone. The age of gods had ended. But the age of something far worse had just begun.